So you're wondering how to find the right online teaching company that is best fit for you? This video is a must watch. Glad you clicked on it. Stay tuned. So let's first start off with, if you are a certified teacher in America, a K12 teacher looking to start their own virtual journey out of the classroom and teaching online, there are different options for you. And some of you have been thinking, well, how do I teach at a school type environment virtually online? There are different companies out there, and I'm sure if you've done a Google search, you have seen that there are two main companies to start teaching virtually as a K12 teacher. If you are teacher certified with your credentials, with a degree, there are two companies in particular, either K12 or Connections Academy. And these two companies usually have schools throughout the United States. I believe, I want to say almost every state should have Connections Academy
school, virtual school, or K12 virtual school.
And if you are not sure, try and do a Google search with the name of your state plus Connections Academy, or the name of your state plus K12 to find out if your state has a virtual school. And with this, most of them require, as I said, credentials. So you do need to
have a teaching degree and your teaching license, because
these schools are accredited as being real options for students to go to school with. I personally have taught with K12 at Academy. And if you are interested in my review in teaching with K12, please comment below and I will make a video about that coming up. But I wanted to do a blanket overview about how does it work. And with teaching virtually at one of those two company schools, you are essentially still a classroom teacher. You still have the same responsibilities as you would in a brick and mortar school, except you are doing it virtually. So you still have assignments, you still have grades, you still have lessons, you still have meetings to do, but you kind of cut out all the other stuff with recess duty, lunch duty, different things. Obviously you can't necessarily do in person. Sometimes these schools still require you could do field trips, having like class meetups, so you could still interact with your students, have your students interact with each other. But if you are looking for that work from home environment and you still want to teach those types of subjects as if you were a teacher in a brick and mortar school, those are two really good options to look into. There are other schools if you wanted to do a teaching type of position at a school. The website called simplyhire.com usually has different positions popped up. So with this though, there's not positions for every state. But if you go to simplyhire.com, you can search virtual teaching positions. And a lot of times there are other schools that aren't K12 or Connections that have different types of teaching positions as well. So make sure you look into those, K12.com, connectionsacademy.com, or do a Google search of your state plus virtual teaching. See what pops up. Sometimes there are virtual schools in your state. So the next most popular way to start teaching online, which I'm sure some of you have started seeing,
was to start teaching English online.
And this is probably the most popular type of work from home teaching positions there are out there, because there are so many companies. And let me first say, not every company is created equal. And I wanted to make this video because when I was searching for companies, I was trying to look for information to see which company is the best fit for me. And let me first off saying, I have applied to 5 different companies. It's not that I didn't get hired for the different companies, which I think I did for every company, but I wanted to see the differences between the companies and which company works best for me and my schedule and what I wanted in a company. So when I was trying to compare the companies, I was looking for pay, scheduling, booking, rating, curriculum, and just how effective the support of the company is with customer support and different questions and getting back to me in response time, different things like that. So those were different criteria I was searching for when I was trying to compare the different ESL companies. Now, I wanted to share all the different things in my experience and how everything went and what you should be looking for when you are looking for the right ESL company for you. So let me say for a quick tip here, you might not always get the first job that you apply to, or you might not like the first company you apply to. Don't let that discourage you, because there are plenty other companies you can choose from. Right now, as I said, I applied to 5 companies. I
now currently only work for 1 company out of
the 5. And that was kind of a choosing between the scheduling and what ended up being more beneficial with my bookings and the time slots I had open. So just make sure that you kind of weigh your options between which company is better, or if you want to try to work for multiple companies, that is possible, but you might need to try to work your schedule in a certain way to make that possible. With that is because the first tip I wanted to share about finding the right company for you is, especially with the ESL companies, is that
almost 90% of them share the same peak hours. Almost 90% of them share the same peak hours.
That means there's only a certain many hours you can work for each company. Meaning most companies want Beijing Chinese Standard Time peak hours between 7 to 9 p.m. Beijing time on the weekdays. The weekends for China time, more companies are flexible with their hours, meaning there's a give or take maybe 10 to 12 hours you could work for the weekends. So when I was searching for a company, I was trying to work for multiple companies, but I ran into the problem with
every company wants the same hours.
So how can I work for different companies that want the same hours? Some companies want you to do a minimum amount of peak hours per week or per month. So that was something I kind of ran into trouble with, because I couldn't do more hours for each company when they wanted the same hours each day. That makes you think, which one should I choose? So another criteria I was searching for when I was looking for the right ESL company for me was the different class types. There are some companies that have one-on-one classes, 1-on-2 classes, or 1+2+ classes, meaning group classes where there's more than 2, 3, 4, 5 students per class. For me, my preference is between 1 and 2 students per class. Group classes, in my opinion, they should be paying you a bit more for some of the pay rates I was seeing. But if you are interested in group classes with
pretty good pay, Bling ABC has really good pay if you are interested in doing group classes.
I personally prefer the 1 to 2 students ratio in my classes, but group classes for high pay, Bling ABC is a good company to look into. Besides the class types, I also wanted to mention bookings. Bookings is very important when you are looking for your ESL that fits for you, because different companies do bookings differently. Some in particular, you are kind of responsible about making your profile, opening your time slots, sharing different, I would say, kind of social media type posts to attract parents, or different videos on your profile to attract parents to book with you. In my experience, I didn't prefer this type of method to get bookings for my classes. I felt like I was doing a lot of extra work for no reward, or not getting high enough pay per hour to be doing these types of types of sharing my profile out to hopes in competing with other teachers for parents to book me. And if you are someone who is trying to get bookings right away, trying to start making money right away, it's a little frustrating. In my opinion, I was frustrated with that situation. Don't quote me for all of the companies that I believe do this. I could be wrong, but in particular, Palfish has this type of booking system where you have your profile and parents can search different teachers and book with you that way. I also believe, gogokid does that too, but I think they're a little bit different with basically how many hours you open, and if parents if they like you, they can start booking more hours with you depending on your schedule. I found it a bit hard to get hours with gogokid in that type of sense. Also, I believe vipkid has a similar situation with bookings, not 100% with that one, but that's one set of bookings I personally did not like about how parents would find you. They'd compare other teachers, you're competing with other teachers to get hours. Some people it works for, but for me, I wanted to start getting hours, start making money right away. So another booking system that I do like from what I've seen in different companies is where
the company can book classes for you.
Meaning, based off your schedule, you open up the different time slots in your schedule, what hours you want to work, and the company will then try to book classes for you. I believe parents can still choose probably between a set of teachers, and they will book classes for you where you can start building up your schedule slowly, but you can start getting more consistent hours based off your schedule. Particularly, I know Wales English does this, Zebra English does this type of booking system. Itutorgroup does this system where you open your schedule and the company will book for you. I believe qkids does this type of scheduling, not 100% sure with qkids. Possibly Landy English, and I'm sure there's more companies that would do this type of booking system. But be aware, booking systems can be different for each company. So make sure when you are applying, you know how they book classes for you, and see if it's going to be beneficial for you. Your must-watch tip next, right now, is
curriculum.
This might not be as important to some of you as it is to others. I personally think curriculum should be important, because if you are planning on teaching a lot of hours per week, just remember you're going to be using their curriculum the company provides you over and over again. So if you're not a big fan of their lessons and the curriculum, it might be a drag teaching hours and hours every week using the curriculum you don't like. So I have seen that different companies have different teaching styles, meaning different curriculum lessons. Some companies prefer the phonics type lessons, where they're more phonics based with teaching sounds and letters to get students to read. I have seen particularly vipkid, I'm pretty sure, is more phonics based. Magic Ears, I believe, is more phonics based. Not 100% sure. If I'm wrong, comment below, let me know what their lessons are like. Other lessons I have experienced with different curriculums are more type subject based, where I've seen the lessons are around a certain topic like feelings, and the whole lesson would be about feeling happy, sad, angry, using those feelings in sentences. Sometimes they don't flow together because you're just practicing words, or you're just practicing sentences with those words in it. I personally didn't like the flow of those lessons. To me, it seemed a bit unorganized, but that's just my opinion. Some people don't necessarily care about, the flow of the lesson, or as long as, they like the lesson, they're having fun. But I've seen those types of lessons where it's kind of a topic and the whole lesson is about a topic, is more with Zebra English. I've seen their lessons are kind of about a topic and you teach about the topic. And I believe there's also sometimes with palfish, there's about a topic and you kind of have different situations where you're practicing the words in your curriculum, which obviously is in all curriculum, but I didn't feel like it flowed as nicely as some other curriculums. But a good way to check to see if you do like their curriculum before you apply and before you have your demo lesson, is if you go on YouTube and you search the company you're interested in, plus sample lesson, example lesson, full lesson, and watch a video and see the actual curriculum that the teacher is using in their classes. Don't always look at the demo lessons, because the demo lessons of a company are not always the same curriculum they use for their lessons in particular. Sometimes, usually it is a sample lesson, but not all the time. If you do like the demo lessons, that also could be a good indicator that you would like their curriculum, and that it would be a good thing. Some companies that I do feel like have a good flow of their curriculum is definitely Wales English does, and I also think that gogokid has a pretty decent flow of their curriculum as well. Another thing is, when you're teaching, most of the time when you first start out with the company, is you will be probably teaching trial classes. And trial classes means that these students that you are teaching have not taught any lessons with the company yet. They are trying out normally a free lesson with the company to see if they like it. So get a good feel sometimes with the demo lessons if you are in that process, to see if you do like it. And another insider tip here, when you have feedback from your demo lesson, this is another tip that I found helpful. When I was getting feedback from my demo lesson, either if it was from an actual live person giving me feedback, or if it was an email giving me feedback from my lesson, I was noticing that some companies like you to teach a certain way. If you are fine with molding and conforming to teaching a certain way with a company, that's fine. But just remember,
Each company might want you to teach differently.
and I found that to be, a little bit different, especially if you do have a teaching background and you feel like you don't always agree with how, a company wants you to teach. I found that there was some feedback I got from a certain company I didn't really agree with, and that made me not want to necessarily keep teaching with them. So use that feedback to get a feel for how they want you to teach and if you prefer teaching that way or if you don't. So those are some great tips when you are going through interview processes and searching for different ESL companies.
Do your research.
So you're still trying to search for your perfect ESL company in particular to start teaching online. Another tip that you probably have been dying and been waiting for this
Whole video is about pay. Of course.
pay is probably the most important thing when you're trying to decide which company to work for. And not all companies pay the same, as you know. So obviously, most companies that I've seen, you can normally start expecting to make between 16 to about 24 an hour. That's usually without bonuses. Bonus programs are definitely great incentives to make you want to teach for that particular company. So if you're still trying to decide between which company you should teach for, not always your base pay should be the determining factor. Also look at your bonus incentive programs to see if that will really boost up your hourly rate. And some companies, they'll add $1 to $2 per hour on top of your base pay, so you can try to average that out. Some companies will do attendances. You get extra money for being on time, or you get extra money for having perfect attendance for each month. So make sure you look into all the different incentive programs, bonus pays, really calculate how much you can make with the incentive programs and bonuses per month to see which company is the best option for pay. You might think one company has better pay, but you might be getting more hours, more bookings with a different company. And if you have a different incentive program with that other company, you might actually be making more per month than if you use a different company with a different incentive program. So there's a lot of good incentive programs out there. The one that I personally am teaching with right now is Wales English. And with Wales English, I am getting an extra $150 to $250 per month just by having good attendance and teaching so many hours per month. So that's a good tip if you are trying to find what is a good incentive program. But there are plenty out there. So if you're still stuck, make sure try to do a pros and cons list. See which one has all the benefits you're looking for. See which one has been giving you the most hours, the most bookings. How do you like the curriculum? How do you like the students? How do you like the feedback and the support you get from your company? Because that is also important. If you are having technical issues, or if you're having issues in your classes and you are maybe late to a class or you can't log into your class, some companies will not pay you for that class and you will lose money, which is not good. make sure you look at your policies of each company to see if you agree with their policies or if the policies are not going to work for you. So do your research. It's super important so you can be happy with your teaching virtual online career. If you're still interested in teaching online, I have a video before this last video up here telling you why you should start teaching online. Make sure you watch it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. My channel is all about making money online, working from home, and now including different how to start teaching online videos as well. So hit that subscribe button and keep making money.